that little Christmas song, put one foot in front of the other. And then you'll be walking out the door, is what it says. Okay. Oh, I didn't think about that. Yes, in January we're going to start Bible study back up in the mornings before church, and we're going to be delving just a little bit into the spiritual realm of deliverance and delivering people. And it's just like anything else with God. These are not scary, like Hollywood tells us. These are real, supernatural, natural things with God, right? Amen? Deliverance, healing. Healing is basically what it is. I have a testimony this morning. I've been, over the last few months, sort of mentoring, and I say sort of because it's not I'll call you at 5 o'clock every Wednesday and we'll talk. That's not what it is. It's just a life mentoring thing with a young man. And he was very upset because, he still did some things, like every now and then he'd get restless and maybe drink a little bit or do something else he wasn't supposed to do to calm himself, self-medicate. You hearing me, guys? And so as we talked, and he really been wanting to change his life and get closer to the Lord, and so I've been sharing all the grace that Tura could muster, which is a lot when God's got it, because it's not natural for me all the time. But so I began to try to encourage him in trust, because loving sometimes isn't all of the attention I give someone. What is loving? Loving's when you can trust without the attention and know that you're loved, right? You don't always have to be having gifts given to you. And guess what? Maybe that old joke about the woman who told her husband, well, you never say you love me anymore. I said, I told you when we got married. How many times do I have to tell you? Well, so anyway, I began to encourage him that he was still basing, the circumstances and God's love for him. It was based in performance. Well, I messed up. God doesn't love me anymore. I messed up. God's not going to help me anymore. I messed up. I got off the path, And so finally I kept saying to him, you're judging yourself based on your performance, and you're expecting, because of certain circumstantial responses to what you did, you're judging God and saying he doesn't love you. I said, that's not love. We have to rest and trust. 2 days ago, I get a phone call. You're not going to believe what just happened. He said, and I went, uh-huh. He said, you already knew it, didn't you? Well, see, what had happened was he was starting a new job, and he didn't get his job because he didn't pass his physical. Well, I kept telling him, you need to rest in God's love and trust him. And he called me to tell me that when he went to church Wednesday night was totally unusual for him. The preacher he said, guess what he preached on? Trust. And he said, and then you know what happened? The next morning, the job called him and said, look, the lab retested your blood work and it came out clean. And you need to be at the job site this coming week. And I said, see there? He said, oh, I know it. So see, that's the prophetic. That's the prophetic. It's what God is saying and doing right now that affects the destiny of the kingdom. And it affects the future of someone else. It's not always telling them what's going to happen at the end of the road. It's telling them the next step that's right in front of them. And it's all found. It's not this mystical thing that we think we can't attain. Don't you think that God can speak to you and you can hear it? And it's like this young man told me one day, he said, I don't know how to share God with someone else when I have the same problems. And I said, that's easy. You tell them what you're going through and how God brings you out. That's prophetic. you share what God is doing in your life today.